The new Ark of Osiris type, Raging Sands, is coming to Rise of Kingdoms. Join me as I break it down. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I know it has been a while since you've had another Shappy Gaming video, but today, the new details of the new Ark of Osiris are coming out, and I could not be more excited. This new Ark of Osiris looks to be really interesting, and today we're going to break down all of the new things that are coming with it, the game mechanics, how I expect it'll impact gameplay today, and what you can expect in terms of new skills. So if you haven't already, do hit that subscribe button right over there, bottom right hand corner, and hit the bell so you get notified when new episodes come out. So without further ado, let's jump into it. This new Ark of Osiris type called Raging Sands is all about visibility. So as you can see in the screenshot above, you can only see the areas around your troops. So you may be wondering, why do I know this before? In Champions of Olympia today, this mechanic is used pretty much exhaustively, where you can only see the troops around yours. What this means is that in certain situations, your enemies may be taking structures or attacking your allies' troops, and you would have no idea. Now, bringing this to Ark adds a whole lot of complexity to the game. And the reason for that is that in Ark of Osiris today, when you are deciding what you're going to attack, a lot of that depends on where your enemies are. So for example, if you're planning on pushing middle, you may want to know if your enemies are pushing middle before you take all of your troops out of structures. Now, this may not impact strategies too much, but there are a couple of little things that I think will make a little bit of a difference. So with that, let's hop into some of the changes that they're introducing. The Ark of Osiris map will be obscured by a sandstorm. Within the sandstorm, you will be able to see the terrain and fix buildings, but you'll be unable to see enemy troops, enemy war camps, and caravans. Your troops in occupied buildings have a certain visual range. You will be able to see enemy troops within your visual range, much like Champions of Olympia. You'll also be able to view all things within the visual range of your alliance member. This point is really important. The reason that I say that is if you are able to see all of your alliance members' troops in their visual range, I'm not sure that this whole sandstorm thing really makes all that much of a difference. The reason I say that is because typically in an Ark layout, you will be looking at a bunch of main structures. So if we can go back here, we look at the desert altar, we look at the obelisk, we look at the sky altar. Typically, in a Ark of Osiris setting, you're really going to be sending troops to those structures. And in this situation, it may be advantageous to just have everyone send one march to the middle, or even a couple people send one march to the middle, and then you can see within their visual range. So does this dynamic really make all that much of a difference? I'm not convinced. Also, the safe areas of both camps will be fully visible to all governors on either side, and when attacking an enemy troop or building, if your attacking troop is not within the visual range, they will be unable to see the march path of your troop or how long it will take for your troop to reach them. So this is handy, and the reason I say that is because when you start Ark of Osiris, a lot of the time you will rally enemy obelisks, and the advantage is you can typically see if your enemy is doing the same thing to you. With this type of Ark, you actually won't be able to see if they're rallying your obelisk, and it may be that you just entered the structure and the rally's already there about to hit you. So you have much less time to react, which is really what this Ark of Osiris is all about. They've also introduced a new mechanic called Choose Favor. So let's talk a little bit about that. Choose Favor makes it so both sides will receive Choose Favor, which is a blessing, when the Ark of Osiris starts, greatly increasing their march period for a period of time. You will not be able to use Ark of Osiris skills that affect march speed while the march speed bonus from Choose Favor is in effect. So there are a couple concerns that come to mind when I see this. In most of the Ark of Osiris that I have played, the march speed bonuses that you get when you're in the middle trying to capture the Ark itself make a big difference. If you're no longer able to get those buffs, those Ark battles in the middle are going to take way longer than they typically did before. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? I think it's a mixed thing because it's going to make those battles in the middle take much longer. And it's going to make it so you are getting to battle far quicker. So if you find that you're a 65 million power player and you're in Ark, you're going to run out of troops way faster in this type of Ark than you do in the typical Ark. So just something to keep in mind. Those March speed bonuses are really helpful, especially when we look at the, I believe it's Valiant Charge, which is one of the first buffs that people typically launch out of the gate, because it makes your rallies go faster, and I believe it makes them also deal more damage. If we can't use that, then we're going to have to find other skills to augment our gameplay. And fortunately, Lilith has granted us a couple. So the first one is Hidden Sentry. Hidden Sentry places a hidden sentry within a visual range of 45, whatever that is, in the selected location, which lasts for about 720 seconds. I don't know why they didn't use minutes, but that's okay. The hidden sentry is invisible to enemy governors, but can be spotted by enemy hidden sentries. It can be attacked and destroyed once it's spotted. It looks like this only costs 0 points, which I think is great. But from a practical standpoint, I'm not sure that I'm convinced of the value of this. There's a 300-second cooldown, which is fairly short, but I don't know why I would use this. I guess maybe I'd use it off the bat if I were trying to see if an enemy rally is coming, but honestly, I don't know that I'd want this to take one of my skill slots. The next skill, Master Strategy, moves up to 30 Alliance troops within range to target destination in 20 seconds. Upon arrival, the moved troops gain 50% increased troop attack for 180 seconds. This is quite possibly the most important update that is coming with this Ark of Osiris. And my big question is, will this skill apply to core Ark and the new Ark, or is it just the new Ark? The value of this is that you can essentially teleport a bunch of troops to a new destination. This can be an enemy obelisk. This can be the middle. This is a really big deal, and you're getting that attack buff. Personally, I'm going to be wanting to use this all the time, because if I can swarm a enemy obelisk right off the bat, and I hope that that's not possible. It looks like it's 6 points, which means it should take a few seconds. But if I can do that, that's going to make a major difference in terms of how Ark is played. I also think this is going to make it so as the middle becomes more and more problematic, this erases that entirely, because the way it is now, I have to recall troops from whatever structures they're in and then march them all the way to the middle, which takes 2 to 3 minutes every single time. So typically you have people sending marches to the middle about 4 minutes before Ark starts. With this skill, you don't have to do that. And the cooldown of 3,600 seconds, I think, is probably irrelevant because there are only about 4 arcs within the game. This next skill is Dust Up. Dust Up decreases the visual range of all enemy troops and occupied structures by 50%, and their damage by 10% for, I believe that's 180 seconds. Let's see, gotta hide myself. 180 seconds. So this is a really interesting skill because it takes away some of the visual advantages of having troops everywhere. Honestly, I don't think that the visual stuff is going to be all that different from how gameplay is done today, but we'll see. I do think the occupied structures and damage of 10% is actually a pretty good buff. And if we take a look at how many points this costs, that's only 2. So I think this may be an interesting buff to play with, especially if we no longer have our march speed benefits. I may consider Dust Up or Master Strategy. I'm really set on Master Strategy, but I do think the decreased damage of 10% is pretty handy. This next skill is Fire Arrows, which increases the range, normal attack damage, and range skill damage of up to 30 Alliance troops within a certain area by 30% and the range attack by 20% for 180 seconds. Honestly, I don't think this is going to make a little bit of difference in the game, but what this does mean is that they are bringing ranged combat into Ark of Osiris with this upcoming update. Some people may be thrilled about that. Personally, I'm neither here nor there. I do think this is going to be handy if you are a ranged player. That normal attack damage makes a big difference, and the skill damage is handy too. But again, 30 Alliance troops with range damage is just not going to happen. I think it's nice that they introduced it, but honestly, I'm not sold. On to the next one, which is either good or bad. Total Vision gains 15 visual range from enemy troops and occupied buildings for 60 seconds. Also increases all allied troops damage by 20% for 180 seconds. Total Vision is a nice skill, not so much because of the visual range from enemy troops, although that is handy, but the damage that you're getting, the increased damage of 20%, is monstrous. For 180 seconds, that's going to be really handy, especially as we talk about pushing to the middle. So I'll also point out that this is only 4 points. So in theory, you can use Master Strategy and Total Vision and be dealing 20% damage and 50% increased troop attack. So that's really, really handy. The other advantage of this is that you can actually see what your enemies are doing. Because you're able to gain 15% visual range from your enemy troops, you can see where they're going, what their plans are, whether they're pushing the middle or not. I think this is handy. I think the cost is a little high, but I do like the troop damage bonus. Personally, I would probably pick this over war drums because all damage is going to be more valuable to me than just attack. So that is all of the new and exciting stuff coming with the new Raging Sands update of Rise of Kingdoms. I think this is going to be an interesting arc. Hopefully those skills do come to the core arc as well. Let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think? Are you pumped about this arc? Are you going to be doing it? And as always, if you haven't already, do hit that subscribe button right over there, bottom right hand corner. It helps me out a ton. And I do plan on putting out more content. I know it's been a little bit of a break. I got married. Thank you all. Shappy out.